Breaking Barriers, the Colorism Conundrum, and Path to Authentic Power. When I had the opportunity to interview Unique on the Soft Girl Era podcast, I experienced one of those rare moments where time seems to stand still. Here was someone who had not only dedicated their life to dismantling the invisible barriers of colorism and racism that hold back so many Black professionals, but who had done so with such grace, wisdom, and unflinching honesty that their work has created ripples of transformation across entire industries. Unique isn't just a thought leader. They're a revolutionary force whose insights have empowered countless individuals to reclaim their authentic power beyond the limitations society tries to impose. Today, I want to share the wisdom gleaned from that conversation. Insights that can help us all move from merely surviving to genuinely thriving. And let me tell you, this journey matters more than we often acknowledge. The path from constant grinding to finally grounding ourselves in joy and peace isn't just a personal transformation, it's a radical act of resistance in a world that expects Black women, especially, to carry everyone else's burdens while neglecting our own needs. It's a declaration that we deserve more than survival. We deserve to flourish. Let's start with a stark reality that too often remains unspoken. Research shows that marginalized individuals, particularly those with darker skin tones, face disproportionate rates of bullying, depression, and anxiety. A 2025 review by Parga and colleagues revealed something that should shock us all. 30 to 40% of multi ethnic youth experience racist bullying globally. Think about that for a moment. Nearly half of our children are being traumatized, specifically because of their race or skin tone. And this isn't just childhood trauma that fades with time. These experiences shape our relationship with ourselves, our communities, and our professional lives in profound and lasting ways. They become the foundation upon which we build our sense of self worth, our expectations of others, and our vision of what's possible for our futures. I remember sitting across from Unique as they shared the story of a young professional they'd mentored, a brilliant woman with deep mahogany skin who'd been passed over for promotion 3 times despite consistently outperforming her colleagues. She came to me convinced that if she just worked harder, stayed later, produced more, she'd eventually break through. Unique told me. But the truth was, she was already working at an unsustainable pace. The problem wasn't her performance, it was a system that consistently undervalues darker skinned professionals. The weight of these experiences doesn't disappear when we enter boardrooms or launch businesses. Instead, they often transform into what psychologists call internalized racism, where we unconsciously begin to question our own worth based on skin tone. We start to believe the lies we've been told about our capabilities, our beauty, our value. As Unique so eloquently put it during our interview, the most dangerous prison is the one we don't even realize we're in. This invisible prison manifests in countless ways. Perhaps you found yourself code switching in professional settings, carefully monitoring your tone to avoid being labeled aggressive. Maybe you've hesitated to wear your natural hair to important meetings. Or perhaps you felt the need to work twice as hard just to be considered half as good. These aren't personal failings, they are rational responses to systemic challenges, but they come at a cost to our mental health, our authentic expression, and ultimately our power. The research confirms this reality in ways that should make us all pause. Darker skinned individuals across all races and ethnicities report up to 14% fair, or poor health status in the US due to discrimination related stress. This isn't just about feelings being hurt. This is about tangible impacts on physical and mental well being that can literally shorten lives. But here's where our conversation with Unique took a powerful turn. Because while acknowledging these challenges is important, staying fixated on them keeps us in survival mode. And sisters, we were made for more than just surviving. The soft girl era isn't about ignoring these realities, it's about refusing to let them define us. It's about dropping the superwoman cape that society has placed on our shoulders and embracing a more authentic, sustainable way of being. So, how do we make this shift? How do we move from constantly grinding to finally grounding ourselves in joy, peace, and self prioritization? First, we must recognize that resilience isn't just an individual trait, it's built through community support and representation. During our interview, Unique emphasized the power of creating networks where we can be fully seen and valued. Isolation is the enemy of healing, they said. When we come together in spaces where our full humanity is recognized, something magical happens. We begin to see ourselves through each other's eyes, not through the distorted lens of a society that devalues us. This might mean seeking out mentors who understand your specific challenges, joining professional organizations centered on Black excellence, or creating your own circles of support. The key is to surround yourself with people who affirm rather than diminish your worth. One powerful example comes from the research on school based anti bullying programs. When these programs specifically address racism and colorism, they don't just reduce bullying, they actively improve self esteem among participants. In one study, students who participated in these targeted programs showed a 40% increase in positive self perception and a 35% decrease in anxiety symptoms. The same principle applies in professional settings. When organizations implement anti racist practices and inclusive hiring policies, everyone thrives. Companies with diverse leadership teams consistently outperform their competitors by up to 35% in profitability. This isn't just good ethics, it's good business. Second, we must learn to set boundaries without apology. This is especially challenging for Black women who have often been socialized to prioritize everyone else's needs above our own. But boundaries aren't selfish, they're sacred. As Unique shared during our conversation, every time you say yes to something that drains your spirit, you're saying no to your own healing and growth. This might mean declining projects that don't align with your values, even when they come with prestige or financial rewards. It might mean establishing clear work hours and sticking to them, even when colleagues consistently work overtime. Or it might mean speaking up when microaggressions occur rather than swallowing your discomfort to keep the peace. Third, we must actively reclaim our identity, not the version shaped by family expectations, church roles, or boardroom rules, but the real us that's been waiting to bloom. This is perhaps the most radical aspect of the soft girl era, the permission to be fully, authentically ourselves. For many Black professionals, especially those with darker skin tones, there's been an unspoken pressure to conform to Eurocentric standards of beauty, communication, and leadership. We've been told explicitly or implicitly that our natural hair is unprofessional, that our cultural expressions are too ethnic, that our voices are too loud. Rejecting these narratives isn't easy. It requires conscious effort to unlearn harmful messages we've internalized over decades. But it's essential work if we want to access our full power and potential. During our interview, Unique shared a powerful practice for this unlearning. Every morning, I look in the mirror and say, I love my skin. I love my features. I love the way God made me. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary when you've spent years being told you're not enough. This daily affirmation isn't just feel good fluff, it's a deliberate rewiring of neural pathways that have been shaped by systemic racism and colorism. It's a practice of returning to our authentic selves, one day at a time. Fourth, we must recognize that healing isn't a destination, it's an ongoing journey. The wounds inflicted by colorism and racism don't disappear overnight. They require consistent tending, compassionate awareness, and sometimes professional support. This is where many of us falter. We've been so conditioned to be strong that admitting we're still healing feels like weakness. But true strength lies in vulnerability, in acknowledging our wounds and giving them the care they deserve. As Unique reminded us, healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel empowered and unstoppable. Other days, an offhand comment or subtle exclusion will reopen old wounds. Both experiences are valid, both are part of the journey. This perspective is backed by research. Studies show that acknowledging and processing racial trauma rather than suppressing it leads to better psychological outcomes. When we give ourselves permission to feel, to really feel, we create space for authentic healing. So, where does this leave us? What is the call to action that emerges from these insights? I believe it's this: we must commit to disrupting the systems of colorism and racism, not just through external activism, but through internal revolution. We must declare with our words and our actions that our worth is not determined by the shade of our skin, the texture of our hair, or our ability to conform to Eurocentric standards. This is not just a personal journey, it's a collective one. Each time one of us reclaims our authentic power, we create space for others to do the same. Each time we set a boundary, speak our truth, or celebrate our natural beauty, we chip away at systems designed to diminish us. As Unique said in the closing moments of our interview, the most revolutionary thing we can do is to love ourselves fiercely in a world that tells us we're unlovable, to rest deeply in a culture that measures our worth by our productivity, to speak our truth in space designed to silence us. I challenge you today to take one step toward your own liberation. It might be small, a moment of self affirmation in the mirror, a boundary set with a colleague, a conversation with a trusted friend about your experiences of colorism or racism. Or it might be bold, launching the business you've been dreaming of, speaking up against discrimination in your workplace, or creating a community space where others can heal. Whatever that step is, take it with the knowledge that you're not alone. You're part of a movement, a soft, powerful, revolutionary movement that's transforming our world one authentic life at a time. Your skin, in all its glorious melanin, is not a barrier to your success. It's the canvas upon which you'll paint your legacy. Your voice, in all its cultural richness, is not too loud. It's exactly what the world needs to hear. Your story, in all its complexity, is not a burden. It's a gift that will light the way for others. The time for merely surviving is over. The era of truly thriving has begun. And you, in all your authentic power, are exactly what this moment requires. Thank you